What's up, guys? This is going to be a trade recap from August 18th to August 22nd. So we're going to start here on this Monday. Starting out, higher time frame was fairly bearish. We're looking at OTE of this price range. We already came through it. We were already starting to expand through there. If we move down to the 1 hour. We've been super bearish throughout the Friday, and then throughout that Sunday as well. These fair value gaps are getting respected here, and now we're coming down to this external low down here, which kind of was a target going into the day for sure. Definitely was a little more bearish on the day to start. We ended up taking a long here, a tiny long. But if we look a little bit lower, we're going to have our sell side and our buy side. Our sell side is going to be a previous candle low. Don't totally like to take those all the time, but in this case, that just looked kind of better. And plus the distance to this external low was, it's 30 ticks. I probably, if I would have taken a short, I probably would let this run. Anyways, super simple change in state right here. Super simple buy side liquidity. It's an easy 1 hour swing high. We end up even tapping it right here, kind of earlier on at 9:03. But that's not a big deal. As we're coming down here on the 15-minute, kind of look for the price action, like what's going on right here, as we get in the morning. And what I can definitely tell is there's not a market structure shift, but we're definitely changing up a little bit from coming to breakaway gaps with respect, breakaway gap, respect, or, we create a bullish fair value gap right here, we consolidate right here, so we move a little bit differently. This is super simple short. The biggest thing is just, when we have the entry right here, that we're just giving it enough room to cover, because this candle gets put in, and I believe it's about 70 ticks right here that it comes down. We just got to make sure we have that covered, but super simple trade, very tiny scalp to these highs. But that's going to be the Tuesday, or the Monday, I'm sorry. So we'll move on to Tuesday the 19th here. Tuesday is another very simple day, very, very easy change of state. I'll start in the 1 hour. So coming off of yesterday, we put in these internal highs right here. And then, later on that Monday, we take these internal highs, and immediately we have a sharp turn right here with a breakaway gap, and we push again, and yet again looking for these the external lows. I'm sorry. One thing I like here going into Tuesday is that we're able to come up and wick this fair value gap right here. This is the only fair value gap right here in this entire range. And if we look at consequent encroachment, yeah, it's right around OTE of that price range as well. So this is really good respect if we're looking at this Tuesday, and then we're able to create this fair value gap here and respect it with the 8 o'clock candle and have it expand through this previous candle. So looking just super, super, super bearish going into this morning. And where we start, like right here, like 9:20. If we're even looking to target a high, we have a ways to go. If we're targeting PCH, we still got 200 ticks to go versus this low, which we're already, very close to right here. Anyways, 1 hour is simple, and 1 hour is actually where the change in state is as well, right here. Or if you want to take it on the 15, it's the same thing. We actually... I believe we exactly tapped the change in state right here at 9:14. Again, similar to yesterday, doesn't really mean anything. Price action is very, very good on this day, especially for my model. Change in state's very obvious, but what I love that we did, and kind of what I love to look for on days like this, if we're looking at this internal price range here that's created in the 1 minute, what do? Right, as we approach market open on 26.7, 28, 29, market open comes, wicks OTE of this price range, right, which in turn is respecting this 15-minute fair value gap, and then immediately we have this bearish expansion candle right here, and immediately we're just gone after that. So we just expand, we consolidate for a couple of candles, and then it's just a quick expansion. This is a very easy entry right here. Very short, 20 ticks. I didn't end up letting this run to the low, but I think with this good of price action, there's no reason why I shouldn't let this run to the external low, or at least let one contract run to the external low here. But overall, this is a really simple and straightforward day. There's really not much to this. Move on to the Wednesday. Wednesday, it's not too much different than these other days. We end up coming short as well on this Wednesday. It looks a little different. I'd say the price action is not perfect. I ended up not taking a trade. In hindsight, definitely should have. But if we look at this Wednesday here, so what ends up happening after the Tuesdays, we have a massive sell-off. 1,500 ticks, crazy sell-off. What sucks about that is that there's not a lot of generated liquidity coming into the morning. Thankfully, right here, once Wednesday opened, we started moving back to the upside and generated a little bit of liquidity right here. Yet again, what's cool is we're respecting this fair value gap. There's no really ranges to work with here, but we respect this fair value gap. We put in, a buy side liquidity. 1 minute's nothing special. Just a lot of consolidation as we go through here, especially like coming up to market open. Just a lot of consolidation here. End up coming up. We take these internal highs, so it's definitely a nice short confluence right there. I wouldn't say I'm especially short or long going into the morning on this. The sell side and the buy side. It's not London lows. We have London highs, and then this just ends up being a wick. What is cool though is we have a nice change in state right here for the upside, and we have a nice change in state right here for the downside. Again, 3 days in a row where we end up wicking the change in state before market open, before we actually trade. Doesn't happen a lot, but it happened 3 times this week. It's just what happens with trading, I guess. I think it's the ultimate thing that turned me away from this day, but I don't think in the future that's really something that should turn me away from a day. I think this is a fine change in the state. I think that the fact that we're respecting, this higher time frame fair value gap, and that we're able to kind of consolidate in the 15, and then before market open, we're able to take these internal highs right here. Especially with this big up candle at 928, come and take the internal highs, and then immediately market opens when we just flip and we're gone. It's a very simple trade, and it's a very long trade as well. Coming 60 ticks right here. So this again, it's a very straightforward day. This is, I believe, the best day of the week in terms of how far the trade was. So I'd probably let it run another 10 ticks or so. And yeah, this is on 3 contracts. This is a great trade, especially with a 930 entry. This is just the model to a T. Except for, I guess I would rather not have this wick early, but it works out. It's fairly simple. We end up selling off like crazy as well, but that's not really the model. I don't let the trade run like this ever, or at least right now that's not the model. Moving on to Thursday. So Thursday is the one day of the week this last week that we didn't take a trade, and we shouldn't have taken a trade. This day did not look good. We'll start off in the 4 hour. I usually don't do this, but on the 4 hour, again, we're just in an awkward spot in the middle of the week because we don't have a lot of generated liquidity, right? We've been selling off so hard that, we have this one wick down here, but like if we look like back, like more in this range up here, like we have a lot more generated liquidity as we come down versus just big sell-off, tiny retracement, big sell-off, tiny retracement. And so there's just not a lot to work with here. When we go into the 1 hour, there's nothing too crazy. We do have generated liquidity. When we're at market open here, 929 right here, we're about almost 300 ticks, 275 ticks from the sell side. And the buy side's not really, it's not out of question, but we're about just as far, 300 ticks. The big issue here is there's just no setup. Um, I mean, if we're looking for longs, I mean, the change in state would be on the 1 hour, and the change in state would be 89 ticks. It's a little far. It's a little beyond what I like to take. So going into this, I wasn't even really looking for a long. I was looking for a short. Um, it's tough here as well. I mean, if we're looking at this big internal range right here, I like that we're respecting this at market open. Um, it's just a little awkward overall. I mean, we consolidate a bit up here. We put in this. See, we put in this fair value gap. I mean, I guess the 1 minute doesn't look too bad. I mean, consolidate for a bit, put in the fair value gap, respect it, expand. The big issue why I don't take a trade today and why I shouldn't take a trade today is there's no clear change in state. Um, there's nothing here, a 1 hour change in state, and on the 15th there's nothing here for a 15-minute change in state. Days like this are a lot tougher, like I said, when we don't have that generated liquidity, um, and we're forced to look for external PD raise. It becomes a lot tougher because there's a lot less times do you have changes in the state that kind of show up in external price action versus like even if we just look internal, like you can already see it. This is a really nice order block that forms right here. You know, it can be used as a change in the state if you know for some other model. But point being that it's a lot harder when I'm looking for external liquidity versus internal liquidity. Because again, looking at this 15, it really doesn't look too bad. I mean, especially if we're just looking in this section, it's pretty clean to the downside. But there's just no trade I can take. There's just no change in state, so I'm just forced to not take a trade in this day. Last day is going to be a Friday. This was definitely an interesting day. It's probably one of the most interesting days we've had in a while for my model. Most of the time for the model, if I'm taking a loss, it's a mentality thing. It's breaking the model. This day was a pretty clean setup. The model ends up not working out, and we end up re-entering and going about break even on the day. But definitely an odd day. I mean, this is what I get for trading on a Friday, but I trade every day, so it is what it is. We definitely had a little bit more abnormal price action as well going into the morning. I could already tell by looking at this that I didn't really like it. Unfortunately, I can't use that excuse as a reason to not trade. I can't say, oh, I don't like it. Let's not trade. You have to stick to a dedicated model, and I have very specific things I look for on the 1 hour, on the 15 minute that tell me when to not trade. And this didn't constitute as one of them. And so even though it's a little awkward, I have to stick to the model, and I have to still take trades in this day. 1 hour is not too bad. I like where we went Friday morning right here, or Friday pre-market, I guess, if you want to say, taking these internal lows right here, and then looking to recover back up, especially after having such a bearish week. I was kind of wanting Friday to be more bullish. And I love this expansion. I love this fair value gap right here. You know, coming out of this bad consolidation, sweeps the lows, nice fair value gap. I like the 1 hour on a day like this. And in a spot where we didn't have a lot of generated liquidity, we generate an easy buy side. I believe it's going to be London high. Yeah, it's London highs. Don't really have a short in this situation. Definitely a little awkward on the short. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, there's just not a lot to work with. Like I said, I really don't like taking previous candle high, previous candle low as a PD array. I think if you really want to work something out, you know, if you mark out this low as a sell side, and look on the 15. Now, but we take the low. I mean, we wick this low at 9 o'clock. This just isn't a sell side. There's just no clear sell side liquidity. You know, tapping the change in state before market opens one thing, but we're not going to take the liquidity, especially if it's previous candle low, and then still look for it into market open. That's just not anything related to a model. So we have the buy side, and then we have the change in state. Like I said, I don't really like it. A lot of times when we're looking for changes in state, I don't want the market to just be chopping, because then this is less of a change in state and more just two random down candles that happen to appear within this consolidatory move. Same here. Here's four down candles, right? It gets tapped and then we sell off. It's not the best for the model for sure. But again, I still want to take it because this is the model. And you can see what we end up doing here is here I'll go to the 10-second time frame. We end up wicking right here at market open and literally come up 7 ticks and sell off far, very far, 250 ticks. So definitely get stopped out here. The biggest thing to learn from this day is like, where are we putting our stop? And definitely can't be putting it too far. The trade itself is it's about 40 ticks. If I'm looking at this on the 10-second, I would say I don't want this internal low to get taken. I'll measure that, and that's about 100 ticks. That's about as far as I would want to go. Realistically, I mean, I wouldn't want to see it go much more past this point. I don't think there's really anything on the 30 seconds. Now it's really tough because we're just chopping. We're just chopping on the 1 minute here, not really doing anything. And I think because of the fact that we're chopping, I kept this a little bit tighter. I think I took about a 60 tick loss here coming down. I think, but right here is where I take that loss, and I could just see like, okay, I don't like this, and although I'm going to trade, and although I'll keep the same size, I'm going to keep this a lot tighter. What I'm able to do though is I understand the market's definitely more bullish. I like that we took this internal low right here. Definitely good confluence there. And so what we end up doing on the 10-second, we wait. We end up coming up, and it's just a re-entry at this change right here. Pretty simple. Again, reason I did that, higher time frame looks really good. And again, even this wick right here, and if we go to the 1 hour, right here, wick looks amazing. I mean, respecting fair value gap right there. I'm taking all these internal lows. Again, look at all this low resistance liquidity right here that we're able to just take with this wick. And it's the fact that so quickly we are able to put in a down candle, and then we have this fair value gap right here, and so quickly we are able to, put in down candle, put in the fair value gap, and then come up. We try to come out of it here with this down candle, and we fail to do so. We fail to respect that fair value gap. We end up pushing up, and we end up creating a breakaway gap right here. So the fact that so quickly we are able to disrespect this internal bearish fair value gap is great confluence for me to want to re-enter. Again, I think I was down about $200 in the day. I let this run a little bit just to squeeze profits out a little bit. But overall, this is definitely a solid week. You have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with 3 solid trades. You have Thursday, which doesn't show a change in state. And you have Friday, which a little bit awkward PA, and we go almost break even on the day, taking a small loss. But with a good trade Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the small loss on Friday, taking 3 contracts every day, we are up about 1,500 on the week. So definitely a solid week to start off. And and I'll see you guys next week.